Alexander Isak arrives at Newcastle's training ground the day after breaking his silence and demanding the club sell him. Newcastle striker last night accused his own club of breaking promises as he looks to try and force through this move to Liverpool before the deadline, of course, September the 1st. Newcastle responded with a statement of their own, suggesting Isak will not be allowed to leave. So look, Mark, is the saga that's, well, everyone's talking about, basically. And we heard from those vociferous Newcastle fans saying, get lost there. Not very nice. They're upset. Where are we?
This has been quite extraordinary. I've been covering transfers for a number of years, not quite as long as this man. Oh. And, sorry, didn't mean to age you there.
Does that tell you about his age?
But I don't think I've ever known a transfer quite like this. Two of the biggest clubs in the Premier League, two of the biggest clubs in world football fighting over one player. You've got noises from both sides. You've got a record, Premier League record bid that has been lodged by Liverpool, rejected by Newcastle, and we're in this situation now where every single day there is a fresh development, there are new noises, there is new information coming to light. And there's always two sides in a scenario like this. There's the Newcastle side, there's the Alexander Isak side. We don't take sides, we just have to try and report the facts as we know them. In their statement, they refer to a couple of things. A, the fact that they were disappointed about his stance and his public statement. There's been no commitment ever made with regards to him leaving this summer. Conditions of a sale have not transpired, and we do not foresee those conditions being met. You can see Alexander Isak turning up to training today around 3 o'clock. He's on his own training regime. He's not currently with Eddie Howe's first team. So therefore, you see those pictures of him arriving. But this is where we're at the moment. So two key statements coming out last night.
You have to look at the timing as well. You said it at the top. There are 12 days of this transfer window to go. Alexander Isak, it sounds like he's getting desperate because he has now got 12 days to effectively try and impact or feel that he can impact an exit out of Newcastle United. Because come 7 p.m. on September the 1st, if he hasn't managed to engineer that move out of Newcastle United, he's staying at Newcastle United.
But Newcastle United, just say Liverpool right now put an offer in of £150 million, which is what we believe is the asking price for Alexander Isak. The condition of sale would be, OK, we accept that, providing we've got a replacement lined up. And that's one of the big problems that Newcastle currently face.
But they're never going to find a replacement like Alexander Isak. So Johan Isak could be available. They have been trying
to get a replacement or trying to get someone, in fact, earlier on in the transfer window, to play alongside Alexander Isak. They tried all window. They tried to bring in Benjamin Sesko, and I don't think you can criticise Newcastle United how they approached this
but they missed out, and they missed out on
Ekitike
to Liverpool, who now could get Isak.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that with regard to Benjamin Sesko, they went all out. They actually bid more, initial payment more than Manchester United. It wasn't a case of Sesko saying, I don't want to go to Newcastle. He just had his heart set on going to Manchester United. Now, the irony of the Ekitike deal is that Liverpool buying Hugo Ekitike from Eintracht Frankfurt, who Newcastle United were actually after, has actually made it a little bit more difficult for Liverpool to get Alexander Isak out of Newcastle, because Newcastle United could have viewed Ekitike as a potential replacement for Alexander Isak, even though it was painted as we want Hugo Ekitike to play alongside Alexander Isak.
But ultimately, though, who wants a player at their club that doesn't want to play for them? No, that doesn't make sense, right? You've got a player that's training on his own at the moment.
But look at the precedent that
of what's going on.
Because there could be loads of players in the Premier League that don't want to play for you anymore. And
but that
must
does
happen every day. It must happen every day. Ones we don't hear about either. If they did that, right, you can go for every single player that did that, then they wouldn't have any. You'd have half a squad sometimes, because there'd be like 10 players who can't get into a team. I'm not happy anymore, I want out. But fact is, that's the role of the owners, the sporting director, the manager in particular, to make sure that these players are happy. Newcastle United themselves, I've described it as a subtle firmness, their statement, because they've actually intimated in that statement that they would be prepared to sell Alexander Isak. If you listen to this, they said, as explained to Alex and his representatives, we must always take into considerations the best interests of Newcastle United, the team and our supporters in all decisions. And we have been clear that the conditions of a sale this summer have not transpired. That means they had conditions to sell Alexander Isak, and those conditions were not met.
But the biggest condition seems to be that they want 40 million more from the offer that's been given.
Yeah, but they've also said, they went on to say, as Mark mentioned there, we do not foresee those conditions being met. They then went on to say that after expressing disappointment that Isak had taken to social media, they would be welcomed back into the fold. So they're playing this very, very carefully because they know there are two scenarios at play here. For example, if Liverpool were to come out with this money that Newcastle United want for Alexander Isak, and more significantly, Newcastle United get the replacements that they would want, then there is a chance Isak can leave. But then there's also that chance that Isak is going to stay. Hence why Newcastle United, in that statement, have also said, we are a family at Newcastle United. Alexander Isak is part of that family, and we will welcome him back into that family once he rejoins his teammates.
Liverpool are edging closer to completing the signing of Mark Guehi, with negotiations advancing rapidly between the Merseyside club and Crystal Palace. The 24-year-old England international has emerged as a top defensive target for new manager Arne Slot, who views Guehi as a crucial piece in reshaping Liverpool's backline for the present and future. According to multiple sources, Liverpool have already reached an agreement on personal terms with the player, who is reportedly eager to make the move to Anfield. Guehi's preference for Liverpool is so strong that he has turned down other potential suitors, effectively making it clear that it's Liverpool or nothing this summer. His determination to join the Reds has added pressure on Palace to find a resolution with Liverpool before the transfer window closes. The financial terms of the deal are nearing completion, with reports indicating that Liverpool are prepared to pay £30 million, with add-ons potentially taking the total fee to around £35 million. Crystal Palace had initially valued Guehi at closer to £40 million, but with the defender entering the final year of his contract and unwilling to extend his stay in South London, the Eagles may be forced to compromise. Liverpool, meanwhile, remain firm in their stance that they will not overpay for a player who could, theoretically, be available for significantly less next summer, or even on a free if the situation drags on. Still, the club is eager to get the deal over the line now, both to reinforce their squad for the season ahead and to fend off any last-minute interest from rivals. Guehi's potential arrival would be a significant boost to a Liverpool defence that has undergone notable change in recent months. Most importantly, Joel Matip is no longer a Liverpool player, having left the club at the end of his contract and announced his retirement from professional football. His departure, combined with ongoing fitness concerns surrounding Ibrahima Konate and the need to manage Virgil van Dijk's minutes as he enters his mid-30s, has left the club short of reliable depth at centre-back. Despite the growing speculation, Guehi has continued to act professionally. Crystal Palace manager Oliver Glasner recently confirmed that both Guehi and teammate Eberechi Eze will remain in the squad for their upcoming UEFA Conference League fixtures, insisting that the players remain committed to the club for as long as they are under contract. Guehi has featured in recent matches and hasn't publicly commented on the rumours, though insiders suggest he is simply waiting for the green light to complete the move to Merseyside. Palace too are quietly preparing for life without their star defender and have already begun scouting potential replacements should the deal be finalised in the coming days.